Hello everyone! Today we will be discussing the 11th module in Understanding the Self, entitled The Best of Me, Outstanding Awards Day. At the end of this discussion, you will be able to identify the factors that contribute to becoming the best you can become, describe the characteristics of one who has reached his or her peak of personal, social, emotional, and spiritual development, apply the different ways toward achieving the peak of one's development, draw up plans and steps in your quest to be the best you can become, and demonstrate understanding from the course through culminating activities. Of course, before we start the discussion, let us first identify the intended learning outcomes, followed by the reporters who have contributed in the making of this report. Greetings, dear learners! I am Jorena Chu, and I will be guiding you through this session as your reporter for the introduction and conclusion, as well as in the topics involving William Gratian's advice in pursuing one's goals, guidelines in making the mind a repository of knowledge, and guidelines in developing a positive attitude towards learning.
Shin Grace Gelizon will focus on the character of the Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Meanwhile, Miss Mijares, Beverly, will take part in narrating the entire story of the Jonathan Seagull. Meanwhile, Danica Cahingcoy will be responsible for the interactive questioning related to the Jonathan Livingston Seagull story. What's up everybody, it's Matthew Tonolete, and today I'll be covering the following subject matters, such as the Maslow hierarchy of needs and the role of the prayer.
I am Cindy Padilla. I will be handling the points to ponder or consider from Jonathan Livingston Seagull's story, as well as this session's activity regarding self-introspection.
Alfreda Tomines will be responsible for goal setting and success, the three important questions, the combination of specific goals, and the guidelines in setting specific goals according to King 2004.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Brazas, and I will be reporting on the topics failure and guidelines on how to deal with failure gracefully by King. In addition to that, I'll also discuss the 4 types of failure by Dr. Martinez, its common reasons and tips in overcoming failure.
And lastly, Antigua will be discussing the need for spirituality and the guidelines for success. And again, in the last part, Tonolete will handle another additional information for roles of player.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull could never fit in with the other seagulls. His primary goal wasn't to fly every day in search of fishermen leftovers. He was a rebellious seagull, not interested in rules. He wanted to reach the biggest speed and fly as fast as possible. He pushed his limits every day, but practicing complicated twists and turns. He separated himself from the flock and became a loner. His parents begged him to join the flock again and try to live with the other seagulls. He wanted to please them, but he did not feel happy with that kind of life. He was not interested in the flock and hanging out with the seagulls. Whatever he did, he always came back to himself. He was never satisfied with himself and always wanted to improve his flying. So he practiced every day. Soon, he broke the world record and flew 165 kilometers per hour. Then he collapsed and fell into the sea. While he was floating sadly, he heard a voice inside that told him he had limits in life and that he has to accept them. He decided to go back to the flock then. It was nighttime and he heard the voice again saying that seagulls can fly at night because they do not have short wings or sharp eyesight as the eagles. He did not pay attention to the voice and just kept on flying. Suddenly, something dawned on him. He thought that he should bend his wings a little bit and fly with the tips of his wings. Not thinking about the danger, he went 600 meters up and reached the speed of 260 kilometers per hour. He forgot about his promises to be a normal seagull and decided to keep on practicing every day. Soon, he reached the speed of 396 kilometers per hour. Not a single seagull in history could fly that fast. He lived a lonely life far away from everyone, but he felt good. His life made sense and he was able to feed himself and take care of himself. He lived a long life. One night, he saw two seagulls. He saw that they were flying fast. They took them from the earth to the sky. He practiced flying with the seagulls that shared his opinion, but he noticed that there were a few of them. His instructor Sullivan told his that the reason for that this was only one part of life and every seagull changes depending on what they learn. And Jonathan learned everything. The elderly taught him how to fly properly, and soon he could fly even faster. With the power of thoughts, Jonathan went back to Earth. He was thinking about his previous flock and wanted to teach them everything he had learned and wanted to show them how to be free. Jonathan went back to the rocks and there he met Fletcher Lind. He was another seagull that was kicked out of the flock for the reason Jonathan was. More seagulls joined them and they were practicing their flying together. After months of hard work, they decided to show everyone that they know. Even everyone turned their back on them. Soon seagulls started gathering around them. More and more, seagulls wanted to learn how to fly. Fletcher became the main instructor and Jonathan went to teach another flock. Fletcher remained in the hope of seeing Jonathan again.
Characters: Jonathan Livingstone Seagull, the protagonist of the novel. Jonathan Livingstone Seagull, often called June by his friends and students, is a bird who is different from all the other members of his flock of gulls. Fletcher Lind Seagull, a young gull who, like Jonathan, is drawn to experiments with flight. When Fletcher is introduced in the narrative, he has just been outcast from his own flock, and as he makes his way, Ejean, the elder gull of Jonathan's new flock in the plain beyond Earth. He is an enormously skilled flyer, and he has been empowered by his age rather than enfeebled by it like most elder gulls. Anthony Seagull, a doubtful bird who lives in the time 200 years after Jonathan's departure from Earth. Elder Gull, the elder gull of Jonathan's original flock on Earth. The elder gull proclaims Jonathan outcast and banishes him to the far cliffs as the result of his reckless experimentations with flight. Sullivan, Jonathan's instructor when he reaches the plain beyond Earth. Sullivan encourages Jonathan's further experimentation with flight techniques and practices, and proclaims Jonathan the most fearless gull he himself has mentored in 10,000 years. Henry Calvin Gull, one of Jonathan's flight students. Terence Lewis Gull, an outcast bird who becomes one of Jonathan's people. Kirk Meron Gull, a lame gull who wants to become one of Jonathan's pupils despite his weak dream. Once Jonathan shows him that he is a free gull, Kirk is seemingly miraculously restored and able to fly.
Interactive questions. Number 1. Give as many descriptions as you can about the personality of Jonathan Livingstone Seagull. What is he like? He is best described as a brave and ambitious bird, believing himself to be different from the other birds in the flock. He wants to fly higher and faster than them by learning the secrets of flight. Number 2. Which quotes or sentences in the story do you like best? Cite your reasons why you like them. My personal favorite is the goal sees farthest who flies highest, which simply means that the higher we dream, to be goal-driven and open-minded for possibilities is where we can see our future the farthest. Seeing as far as our life can go from small to big achievements, is already a sign that we flew high. Number 3. What seems to be the life goal of Jonathan Livingstone Seagull? The story was about an ambitious and adventurous seagull whose main aim in life is to do something worthwhile and unforgettable. For this reason, he practices flying day and night and soon learned to fly flawlessly to the utmost heights of the blue sky. Number 4. What characteristics do you think made Jonathan's wings shine brilliantly after teaching many seagulls how to fly? He is brave and driven by a vision he feels more than understands. The need for speed. As a result, he becomes exceptional, a kind of hero figure who is self-transforming. Number 5. Based on the definition and characteristics of a self-actualized person, can you say that Jonathan Livingstone Seagull has reached this level? Why or why not? For me, yes, because like Jonathan, we are all ambitious. We are brave and goal-driven. Like him, we aspire to reach our goals no matter what it takes. Number 6. What do you believe to be the factors that enabled Jonathan to achieve his goal? When Jonathan was described later in his life as a bird that is magnificent, dazzling and bright, what does it mean? And what does this show? This shows that he was being brave and ambitious. He was then described as a seagull that is magnificent, dazzling and bright, because he has taught other seagulls to fly. He was idolized and shined brightly for them. Number 7. Are there things that Jonathan has done which you also have done? How about those that you haven't done? Yes, one thing I'm sure of is that I have done things once or twice in my life that Jonathan Livingstone Seagull has already done. Being ambitious is one, and helping others learn from the things I know and teaching them what I know is another. I have not yet reached the highest heights of my life, and I know I haven't flew the highest yet, but I know sooner or later I'll reach my peak.
3, 2, 1. Jonathan Livingstone Seagull is a model of one who achieved his life goals in spite of difficulties and constraints. He was able to do it because of a mix of several factors: clear-cut life goals, persistence and perseverance in pursuing his dreams, adherence to a philosophy of loving and helping others, practice of skills to perfection, positive attitude, and recognition of limitless possibilities. Every one of us has a goal or dreams in life. In achieving those, we will first encounter a lot of challenges, difficulties that will come along the way. With Jonathan Livingstone Seagull, those hindrances did not stop him in pursuing his dreams. What lessons from Jonathan Livingstone Seagull's story can guide you in your life? Are there parallel circumstances in your own life? How did you overcome them? The following are some points to ponder. First, pursue your life goals with determination. In the process, do not allow failure or errors to discourage you from seeing your goals to the finish. Second, once you learned something new, make sure to share it with others. Show helpfulness, love, and generosity to others. Third, don't be satisfied with the typical. Strive to go beyond the ordinary. Fourth, always have a humble heart when dealing with people. Next, be a model so as to influence other people. Next one, be creative in the ways of pursuing your goals. 7. Be the best of what you can be and influence other people to do the same. And lastly, patience is a virtue in pursuing your goals.
Alright, now it's my turn. Today we're going to talk about the Maslow hierarchy of needs. that was created by Abraham Maslow in 1943. Keep in mind that this theory was presented already in the previous groups of the reporters. I think it was in Module 8 or Module 9, somewhere in between. Now let's begin. Now everyone please bring your notebooks and your ball pens, because some of this information are not in the presentation in my slide. So let's go. I hope you pay attention. Now starting from the physiological status, way below safety, is the first level of hierarchy of needs, which is, say, physiological, which is detailed here: the health, social stabilities, water, clothing, etc. The next is going to be safety and security, where it involves in the health, employment, property, family, and social instabilities. The next is going to be love and belonging. Friendship, family, intimacy, sense of connections belong here. Self-esteem will involve in confidence, achievement, respect from others, and need to be an unique individual. Self-esteem or pride. And lastly, at the top of the food chain or the pyramid, which is the self-actualization, is the highest level. Now notice that the self-actualization is the highest level. The point here is that the person needs to prioritize the lower levels in order to rise up to the next. Needs are characterized by the two: deficiency and growth needs. They need to progress from the needs of basic necessities such as food to more complex such as beauty and justice. Now everyone please pay attention and take down notes, because there's a difference between highest level and lower level. Individuals who have reached the highest level are in content and in ecstasy, and therefore they do not get irritated easily on trivial matters or failure. They are also willing to help people with their assignments or etc. They are also optimistic and viewing life in positive light. Unfortunately, only some of the general population can achieve this level, because not everyone will have the same intellectual capacity, motivation. Now, a person with a low motivation will probably stay in their comfort zone, and they will not realize their full potential because they're just there. They won't move anything. They will not move forward. They're just there, comfortable in the comfort zone. A person who is highly motivated would maximize their time, efforts, opportunity in order to reach their levels and goals. Note that a person who is able to focus, strategize, and maintain perseverance to their goal will have the same performance in reaching their goals as their motivated counterparts. A person's view in life will make a huge impact towards self-actualization, in which a person who is well-informed, well-traveled, and well-exposed to any challenges to life has a higher chance to reach the highest stage of Maslow hierarchy of needs, which is self-actualization. Now, for real-life applications will be correlated to the students today. In order to reach the highest level of hierarchy, you must be focused and be conscious of what you want in the future. This will allow you to concentrate on your future. After college, the highest level of hierarchy is not yet achieved, but it is important that you're able to move from one level up to another. From an academic degree to getting hired to a guaranteed job, once you got a job, you can focus on building your career by developing good work ethic and know how to handle with people. Form good connections with other people. You might never know that in the near future they will help you in the long run. When forming your family, practice emotional maturity, and please teach your future generations about the fear of God and be taught with proper manners. Now please remember to avoid vices. This is the last tip I can give you. Criminal suspicious activities and the use of illegal substances will destroy your life in an instant. The workforce is competitive. Having a criminal record on your resume would detriment your chances of employment. It is much worse for those under illegal substances such as drugs or cocaine. A single dose of heroin would result in addiction, in which it will destroy the person's life in a process as a whole. However, there is a path of redemption, but it's always better to prevent such transgression. Self-actualization is a lifelong process. Planning and setting goals as early as possible will give you an edge to rise up.
For today's activity, Activity 1, Self-Introspection. Ask yourself as to what level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs you identify yourself with. What are your plans to move on to the next levels? How are you going to go about it? Share your reflections and plans with a trusted friend or classmate.
Goal setting and success. Success is defined as the state of accomplishment or achievement resulting from an endeavor. According to King of 2004, success is relative, and the term means different things to various people. Thus, for some, success means having material possessions like a car or house. On the other hand, some people think of success as having a good family life, a happy home, a feeling of contentment or ease, or always being in love. King Father believes that success means not only being able to achieve or fulfill one's goal, but also having positive feelings of happiness, joy, love, peace of mind, self-respect, greatness, and freedom from worry, anxiety, guilt, or failure. He states that many people associate success with the acquisition or possession of tangible materials. But the very root of success is the positive feeling that comes with accomplishment and achievement. King raises three important questions you can ask yourself to help you understand life itself. First question is, what is my life for? This question requires you to have a long and thorough look within yourself, your abilities, your characteristics, your interests, and the like, as well as your weaknesses. Second question is, what do I want to happen to my life? This question requires you to have a clear picture of your goals, both short range and long range. Third question is, how can I achieve it? This question requires you to know how to accomplish your goals. Do you have the resources and the support to achieve your goals? A personal mission statement presents one's own personal philosophy or belief that states his or her objectives in life and how he or she wants to accomplish them. It focuses on what one wants to be and to do, and on the values or principles upon which they are based. There are no hard and fast rules in writing one's personal mission statement. It can be a list of declarations or a paragraph. Having clear-cut goals is the key to achieving anything in life successfully. A goal is a result towards which effort is directed, or a point and or place that one is striving to reach. Goals must be realistic but at the same time attractive so as to excite one into achieving them. If your goals are not clear in your mind, you may divide or chop them into smaller pieces to make them more attainable. Think of a cake. It might be difficult for you to eat the whole cake as it is. Besides, if you eat the cake without finishing it in one sitting, what is left will not look palatable or attractive. Thus, it is better to divide the cake into slices the same way you should do with your goals. King adds that there are specific goals which, when combined together, make one big goal called success. First is mental or emotional success, having a good grasp of your mind, feelings, and emotions. Second is spiritual success, balancing the needs of the body and the spirit. Third is personal success, overcoming a weakness or disability. Fourth is career success, accomplishing work objectives. Fifth is financial success, earning enough for one's needs or more. Sixth is social success, getting well along with and being held in respect by others. Seventh is physical success, having a healthy and sound body. And lastly, family success, maintaining harmony and achieving fulfillment as a family. Here are some guidelines in setting specific goals. First is know the time frame of your goals. Some goals can take a lifetime to achieve, but some are intermediate or short term. Break long-range goals into smaller ones to make them more achievable. Second is set expressive goals. Be precise and make positive statements. Say, for example, I will speak well of my associates rather than I will avoid gossiping about my associates. Third is prioritize your goals. When you have many goals, give each a priority number. Prioritizing your goals will help you attain them more neatly and easily, rather than dealing with all of them simultaneously. Fourth is base your goals on performance, not just outcomes. Set goals which you have the power and the ability to achieve. Fifth is set specific goals. Be as specific as possible but not too detailed. For example, if your goal is to avoid getting fat in the future, say, I want to avoid getting too fat by refraining from eating in between meals. Sixth is make your goals realistic. Set goals that are based on your expectations, not those for others. And lastly, think beyond your goals. Think or visualize other things that you want to achieve upon accomplishing one goal.
Moving on, we have another motivational author, William Gratian, who gave advice in pursuing one's goals. The first advice is that you should have a clear purpose. For a dream to become a goal, it must always be specific. You have to write down exactly what you want in life. The second advice is that you should be totally committed. Once you have identified and clarified your goal, emotionally commit to it. The third advice is to reiterate your goals. Review your goals as often as possible. You might need to repeat them at certain times. Talk about your goals so people may help you attain them. The fourth advice is to write down your goals. Keep journals, though old-fashioned they may be, on which to write and review your goals. The journals may actually help you to always be aware or conscious of your goals. The fifth advice is to record your achievement. Documenting an achievement makes you feel empowered. It is a reminder that motivates you to achieve more. Next is to create a well-defined plan. A plan acts as some kind of a blueprint to turn your goals into reality. Set dates, devise techniques, formulate habits, and prioritize your steps. After creating a well-defined plan, work on your goals step by step, day by day. Spend time and energy in achieving goals on a regular basis. Of course, goals cannot be achieved in an instant. The last advice that William Gratian gave in pursuing one's goals is to review and evaluate. Set aside time to review your accomplishments and achievements. By doing this, you can also avoid and anticipate failure. Now that we're done tackling about how you can pursue your goals, always remember that one's attitude towards learning is a factor to success. Now, how exactly can one set a mentality meant for success? We will know the answer to that as we move on with the lesson. A wise man once said, "Learning does not only give you facts, ideas, and other information, it also provides you with the power to think. Thus, you can achieve your goals and turn your dreams into reality with learning." Got a hint on who this wise man is? You might have just guessed it right. That wise man is King, who also made the guidelines in making the mind a repository of knowledge. First on the list is to desire for nothing but knowledge. Information comes in different forms. With that being said, you should develop the motivation for gaining long-term knowledge for its benefits. Second is to assess the information you really need. You should use only the information you think will help you in the future. Third is to know where to get the best information. Many sources of information are available, especially in this tech-savvy generation. However, you should always consider the quality of the information you gather, whether it's from a reliable source or not. Fourth is to create mental databases which you can utilize for practical recall. You can do this technique by memorizing significant and important materials. Fifth is to recall the specific information periodically. Use the knowledge which enhances your learning skills. Next is do not spare time on managing your knowledge. You must have a way of assuring yourself that only the material you have chosen and selected to learn is worth the time you put in it. It must be updated, useful, and properly formulated. Last but definitely not the least on the list is to develop your writing skills. Writing is one of the best ways to develop your mental skills. For a start, you can keep a diary or journal for your thoughts, ideas, insights, and the like. You can also opt to write letters so you can share and exchange views with other people. Aside from the guidelines in making the mind a repository of knowledge, King also made guidelines in developing a positive attitude towards learning. First is that you should always be teachable. Keep your mind open, because a closed mind slows down the learning process. Next is self-development, not self-fulfillment. Self-development is the process of trying to raise yourself to a much higher level. On the other hand, self-fulfillment is trying to please yourself continuously and being happy and content with what you have achieved. Remember, never settle for less. Third is to be a consistent learner. Make each experience a learning experience. Surround yourself with learning moments, people, and anything or anybody you could gain insights from. Last is to develop a plan for growth. It is a schedule of the constructive things you can do that can expand your mental ability. After applying the guidelines that we've learned to the path of your success, always remember that goal setting is not just about reaching one's destination. It also implies going for another goal after one has been achieved. If you successfully attained one goal, aspire for another. Never stop learning so you will keep growing. It is important that you stay focused, optimistic, and have a positive attitude that gives you an edge over others. Never stop learning because success is just around the corner.
Good day, everyone. I'm going to discuss about failure. At some point in life, you may experience some setbacks. Failure basically refers to the inability to achieve one's goals. So when we fail at something, it usually leads to sadness, helplessness, or disappointment. Although it has been shown to have both negative and positive consequences on later performance. As I've said, we may become frustrated or helpless, but on the other hand, it may also motivate us to work or strive harder. But that's if we think of failure as a learning experience. One should not avoid failure, rather, embrace it and look at it as a learning experience. We do not think of it just as it is. We need to learn or figure out how to get around it. So if we look back from our past experiences and apply what we have learned, we have a great chance at succeeding the next time around. So I'm going to show you the 4 types of failure according to Dr. Martinez and its common reasons. There are 4 types of failure according to Dr. Martinez. The first one is abject. To Dr. Martinez, this is the most personally difficult one. This is the type of failure when people lose something that feels essential to them. Examples of this could be their health or current level of functioning. The second one is glorious. This is the type of failure where you give something your all, but you fail in an epic blaze of glory. For an instance, a student tried his best on this school presentation or quiz, but somehow he didn't meet his goals. So this can lead to feelings of disappointment or devastation. The third one is common. This is your average daily failure, and since none of us are perfect, you will experience it, and more likely to experience it again. This is forgetting an appointment, bringing wrong disc to a presentation, getting late at school. So the fourth one is predicted. This is the kind of failure where we can count on. To Dr. Martinez, think of it as a beta test of any new idea we are trying out. We have our things in place and we are going to see if they work well or if there are bugs. Like if you're trying out a new dance practice to find out if you're good at it or not. In this type of situation, you don't really expect yourself to be the best or to be successful. Here are the common reasons of failure. Lack of persistence. This deals with people who do not persist with goals. The root of failure is giving up too early in the process, and it's not that the goal couldn't be met or that it was difficult, but only because the individual gave up way too soon. Then the lack of conviction, or the lack of belief, which a person does not believe strongly in what they're doing, meaning they are doubtful or hesitant. Third is lack of discipline. This can be associated with laziness, procrastination, or the absence of willpower and motivation. So what we really need to develop is self-discipline because it is one of the most important requirements for success. Then, rationalization. It is the act of justifying a generally unaccepted behavior or mistake. During a conflict, one of an individual's coping mechanism is elaborating some form of reassurance to avoid feeling guilty and maintain that self-respect. Fifth is dismissal of past mistakes. Your mistakes are meant to guide you. Dismissing them only means that you don't fully admit to yourself or acknowledge that mistake. So in turn, you won't really learn from it. Then, poor self-esteem. It is characterized by a lack of self-assurance and self-doubt. You're held back by a lack of self-esteem and you don't really believe in your own abilities. The last one is fatalistic attitude. This is frequently associated with a pessimistic and negative outlook, undermining personal responsibility, difficulty in making decisions, and procrastination would all be the consequences of this mentality. These common reasons of failure are presented for us to be able to evaluate ourselves and identify which of the characteristics shown above are the ones that we can relate to or feel like we have. Once we're able to do that, we know which part of ourselves that we need to work on. Like, for an instance, I believe that I have a lack of conviction, so I will work on that part. King provided us some guidelines on how to deal with failure gracefully. The first guideline is zero in on failure. Separate the concepts of failing at a task and failing as a person. Just because you failed at a task doesn't mean you failed in life because you can always try again. Keep failure in its proper perspective and context and do not let it affect you as a whole like the other aspects of your life. Second is, find out where you exactly went wrong. Study your limitations. This is really important because when you know exactly the root of the problem, you'll know which mistake you'll have to work on or to focus on. Analyze the causes of the failure and maintain objectivity to keep that realistic perspective. Next is, change your attitude or mindset towards failure. Look for challenges, take time to reflect, celebrate small wins, and take one step at a time. It is common where we feel sorry for ourselves when we fail, but it becomes unhealthy when you concentrate on what you've done wrong rather than the lessons you can learn from it. The experience should not be seen as a failure because when you change your ideas about it, you'll have a better way of handling things. You'll know what to do, and I think this is the centerpiece of this guideline because once you change your mindset towards something, it really impacts how you respond to mistakes or how you cope. Fourth is, come up with a strategy. Do not expect failure, but anticipate courses of action in case it happens, because most people would do nothing about it and that doesn't really help. Instead, you analyze the causes of failure and come up with a solution. Ask some friends for suggestions or some help and make the necessary changes as you start over. The fifth is, look for good alternatives to what you're doing. In case you're not doing well with the current task, then maybe you should find another ways to do it or how to deal with it, which would make it easier for you. Have a fallback. Next is make effective decisions to avoid repeating the same mistakes. You may ask for comments and suggestions from others, but you must make the final and effective decision. What you have to do is try to and define that decision of yours clearly and collect some relevant informations. Assess your choices. Will this be good or not? What are the pros and cons? And then identify if there are some necessary changes to be made. And when you're ready, take the final action. Lastly, visualize the effects of your decision. Maintain that objectivity. Be realistic and honest with yourself. Anticipate the pros and cons of your choices, and by that, you'll be able to weigh out which choice or decision is more likely effective. So here are the important notes to remember in overcoming failure. First, don't feel threatened by it. Some people don't even try because they're scared. Being threatened by it just holds you back and it may cause you to miss some amazing opportunities. You'll be shackled by an overpowering fear of failure if this mindset takes hold, preventing you from attaining your full potential. If you want to progress and live a happy life, you must conquer these negative thoughts and replace them with good ones. Second is develop healthy habits and avoid picking up bad ones. Take walks, do breathing exercises, spend time with your family and friends, do whatever it takes to keep your mind clean and free of negative thoughts. Pick up new hobbies that you could love and enjoy. In relation to that, avoid unhealthy habits. People will sometimes turn to substances such as drugs or alcohol to help them cope with their misery. But addiction only causes more harm than benefit. It's best to avoid developing such unhealthy habits and instead concentrate on learning skills that will enable you to heal in a healthier manner. Third is take responsibility for your failure. Ignoring the root of the problem of how things turned out is pointless and will never make up for what actually occurred. In the same way that taking on too much responsibility can make you feel anxious and tense. Failing to accept responsibility for your actions prevents you from learning from your mistakes. Make no excuses. Make an attempt to figure out why things went the way they did. Acknowledge whatever mistakes you made and concentrate on learning from them. The fourth one is study yourself. Many people are discouraged after a setback, while others see failure as an opportunity to learn more about themselves and develop. Ask yourself, what role do you play? What are some of the errors you've made? In what areas do you feel you're lacking? You may turn your mistakes into useful life lessons and use the knowledge obtained to attain your goals by digging deep and learning about yourself. The fifth one states that there's nothing wrong with feeling bad. It's common to experience deep sentiments of fear, sadness, and guilt when you don't fulfill your goals. In fact, you could argue that it's necessary to be hurt after a failure. Use these feelings and emotions to your advantage rather than repressing them. Rather than feeling sorry for yourself and wallow in self-pity, channel your emotions into motivation to achieve better in the future. Lastly, learn to accept failure. Failures will never teach you anything if you run away from them. As you progress in life, you'll discover that it is inevitable. The sooner you accept it as a learning opportunity, the sooner you'll attain your full potential. It should not be interpreted as a sign of defeat. While it is impossible to totally avoid and eliminate it, the methods outlined above should assist you in managing and mitigating the consequences.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maria Agent Terraza Antigua, and I am going to report about the need of spirituality. Spirituality refers to an individual practice, related to a sense of peace and purpose. It is also associated with the process of developing beliefs around the meaning of life. People do believe in a higher force called God for Catholic, Allah for Muslim, Yahweh for Israelites. What is the vehicle for realizing this force? Do you have any idea? Yes, it is what we call faith. Faith is a firm belief or conviction, not based on external evidence or proof. It is also confidence on what you not see but rather feel. When you say you have faith, you acknowledge the force that guides, motivates, and propels you to reach your goal. According to King 2004, faith energizes the mind and the body, as well as enables people to perceive possibilities, improve their powers of discernment, and leads them to excel. According to King and Christians, lay out some guidelines for spiritual success. The first one is minimize materialistic thoughts, generate peaceful, serene thoughts, create a spiritual image, face reality with faith, live for a higher purpose, find a spiritual role model, think of your world as a battle between good and evil. Realize that your presence or influence will outlast your death. Emphasize rejoicing in life than surviving in life. Read inspiring literature. The role of prayer, communicating with the source. The key to success living is learning to communicate and commune with the source. Praying or communely with a high power to one's soul. In prayer, you reach your body and feel relaxed. Think of prayer as not as all talking to God. However, you may conceive Him to be. But talking with God is a companionship.
More additional information about the rules of prayer is how would you communicate with the Father Himself? The answer is simple. You must pray. Pray to the highest power and your body will feel relaxed and recharged. Think of it not as a conversation but a companionship. A term agape love is best to describe for this type of relationship, the love of God for man. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening for our presentation for Module 11.